and welcome to OCD Victory. My name is Matt, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the different types of compulsions people perform in the OCD cycle. Now remember, the compulsions are the behavioral aspect of OCD, where the obsessions are the mental aspect. Now, the compulsions can take on a variety of forms. In this video, we're going to talk about a few of them, and specifically the mental compulsions, because those are the ones that are harder to spot often. So the first three I'm going to start off with are the thought blocking, thought suppression, and thought replacement. Now, thought blocking is where you deliberately try not to think a certain thought. Whatever it is, whatever your obsession is, that's often the thought you'll try to block from your head. The thought suppression is when you have the thought and then you try to push it away, or you try to not think it while you're thinking it. And then the thought replacement is when you have the obsession and then you try to replace it real quick with a good thought, a quote good thought. Then some of the other compulsions people perform are things like counting, and where they'll just start counting numbers, to try to block out thoughts. And then there's praying, where they'll pray not to have certain thoughts or pray to try to get rid of certain thoughts. And then there's things to distract yourself, whether it be, just looking at something or going and doing an activity to try to get rid of a thought. And then there's something called ruminating, or this is when a person basically starts analyzing and almost arguing in their mind again and again and again to try to figure something out, whether it be, did I really hit that person with my car? And then they'll backtrack and think of everything they did on that drive and see if they can figure out in their mind if they really did something or if they didn't. And then what I want to talk about are what I call the big three compulsions, which are avoidance, checking, and reassurance. And avoidance is a very difficult compulsion to spot, because it's simply someone could just not do something and you wouldn't know the difference. So it's really important that when you're battling OCD, to spot the behaviors that you're doing, because it's often going to be very difficult for other people to spot them, specifically with avoidance. Now, avoidance, people can avoid a variety of things. They could avoid things that might be contaminated. People can avoid television shows, or that might trigger them. They can avoid places that might scare them. Going out with people. These are all things that people can avoid. So it's really important to spot the things that you avoid, and then make sure that you don't avoid them, to really expose yourself to them. And I'll talk more about that in my exposure and response prevention video. The second major compulsion that people engage in is checking. Now, checking can take on a variety of forms as well. Some of the major checking behaviors might include checking your locks on your house, or the locks on your car, or something at work. Maybe checking the stove to make sure you turned it off. Or someone with sexual obsessions might check and see if they got aroused by a certain situation. Whatever it is, it really is very specific to each individual that has this type of compulsive behavior. So it's important that you really identify it and work to eliminate that checking behavior from your life, because all it's doing is actually perpetuating the obsessive cycle. And the final major compulsive behavior that people engage in is reassurance. Now, in my opinion, this is like the major compulsion that most people engage in, especially a mental compulsion. And it's something that can be very subtle, and it's something that people can just do in their mind, which is very difficult to spot for a third party. So if you're working to overcome OCD, it's important to realize that reassurance is actually making your OCD worse. So some types of reassurance might include researching the internet to reassure yourself of something. It could be anything. Someone with contamination might research to see if they got a certain disease and those symptoms of that disease. Someone with harm OCD might reassure themselves that, hey, that they really have OCD. It could be that simple. Someone with scrupulosity might look to reassure themselves by going to talk to a pastor or a priest that they're not going to go to hell, and just constantly seek that reassurance. And it's people with OCD, one thing, are very good at getting reassurance and almost tricking other people to give them that reassurance. So if you are working to overcome OCD, these are some of the major compulsions that you need to identify in your life and then work to slowly eliminate, because these are actually the behaviors that, while they might make you feel temporarily that temporary relief, they're actually perpetuating the OCD and making it worse in the long run. If you'd like more information, please check out my website at www.ocdvictory.com. You can also check out my Facebook page and follow me on Twitter, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you for watching.